Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to another live episode of the O&G StrikeZone. I'm Bryan Fulford. That's Kelvin Rozier. Kelvin, how you doing tonight, brother?
I'm glad to be in the midst, my brother. I'm doing well. The weather is a little bit better today, although later on in the week it's supposed to rain and the weekend and some cold weather supposed to come in. And they're talking about a legitimate potential possibility of snow or ice in Tallahassee by Monday or Tuesday.
Get out now. Well, that's not a good sign. God bless y'all, man.
Yeah, I'm going to make me a snow angel.
Yeah, come on now. It's not like it's gonna snow in Atlanta now. Our friends in Atlanta, they got some stuff that shut the city down, and folks out there having snowball fights and doing all kinds of other stuff. Yeah, if it does that in Tallahassee, yeah, miss me on these arguments about global warming.
Hey, don't kill my dream, man.
All right.
I just want one snowball.
All right, better go to the shaved ice man and get some shaved ice and just take it off the cone and throw it at somebody real quick. Oh man. Hey, well, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for coming in and checking us out tonight. You're watching us, the O&G StrikeZone, right here on the Black College Sports Network and Jericho Broadcast Networks. Those of you watching us on the JBN YouTube page, we say hello to you. Say hello to everybody also watching us on the Black College Sports Network Facebook page, as well as the X Twitter page. Hello to everybody watching on Instagram Live on the O&G StrikeZone Instagram page, or maybe our Facebook page, or maybe our YouTube page. However you're watching us, I encourage you to take a second and hit the thumbs up, the like button, and make sure you're subscribed with the notifications turned on. So that way you get the notifications when the show is happening. Big show tonight. We always love having our coaches on the show. And so for the first time in 2025, we get to say hello to Coach James Colzie III. Coach Colzie will be in the building. So you guys get your questions, get your thoughts ready. I'm sure in this show we'll get a chance to recap 2024, the 2024 season, talk about some of the changes happening, and also maybe start looking ahead. Some things we know, a lot of things we don't know. So we'll see how much Coach can share, how much he'll let out of the bag. That's always an adventure. So we'll see what happens there. We are hopeful that sometime in hour two, Marcus Green, who's also one of our regular co-hosts, he will hopefully have a chance to join us in hour two, maybe hour 2.5, somewhere in there. If you missed last week's show, you missed a heavy dose of recruiting updates. I think how many guys did we talk about last week on last week's show, Kelvin? I felt like it was about 15 or so.
Yeah, I thought Marcus said about 17 commits or something like that.
Yeah, I felt like that was the number. So up to that point, we had talked about a good 15 of the recruits who had committed. Obviously, since last week's show, I think we're probably about another half dozen. Three? I was going to go half. Yeah, well, at least three. So yeah, at least anywhere from a good 3 to 6. So we'll talk about the numbers. Maybe we'll get an idea from Coach Colzie about the numbers. So really looking forward to talking to him for the first time in 2025. Also, in just a moment, we're going to talk about the rough road trip that our men and women's basketball team had in Louisiana. Ooh, tough one, man. Tough one. But so we'll kind of reflect back on that. And thankfully, they're coming back home. So there's an opportunity. What was that look? Thankfully, we'll get a chance to reinvigorate the masses and rebuild some hope and confidence as we have Mississippi Valley State and Arkansas Pine Bluff coming to Tallahassee this weekend. So hopefully that's a good sign. And so we'll get to go from there. I want to encourage everybody. You see down below the Cash App symbol. You also see the Square code. If you feel so inclined and want to donate to the show, we gladly accept your donation, your cup of coffee, whatever it is you'd like to share with us. You can also leave a super chat if you're watching us on the JBN YouTube page. That's at myjbn online, and that nice little donation as well is helpful. But always encourage you to share. The collection plate is out, passing around, going around, and every little bit of cup of coffee helps keep this program and help send us to places. Maybe it'll send Kelvin up north to Atlanta where he can see some snow. Especially when the SWAT tournament comes around, or maybe it'll help me get to Tallahassee. You never know what your contributions mean to the show. And so we say thank you to everybody. All right. Well, let's get into a little bit of the roll call before we go down the path of performances from the past weekend and such. So let me kind of go through the setup here. First one in the building, Jimmy Mack. Good to see you, Jimmy. J Mack checking in. Also a JBN subscriber. So we say thank you for being that and doing that as well. What up, Ken? Alice, appreciate you checking in and coming in as well. Melissa Wilson checking in early. All right. One of FAMU High's finest. Exactly. Checking in early. We appreciate you guys doing that. Ezekiel Love coming in. Good to see you. Thank you. Little baby checking in.
Big little baby.
B Starks checking in.
I love B Starks.
JBN subscriber. Did you survive that weather up there in the ATLB? I hope you did. I hope you survived it. I don't know if you enjoyed it, but hopefully you survived it well. Bull, what up, Bull?
What's going on, Bull?
Good to see you, Bull. My guy, Tony, checking in. Good to see you, Tony. Missed you last week on the live chat, but it's good to have you back. Meredith checking in as well.
What's happening, Meredith?
Thank you for being a JBN subscriber as well. Kev from Tally.
What up, Kev?
Rapper? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Let me see who else. Yes, Tamara T checking in.
Hey, Tamara T.
Good to see you. Thank you for being a JBN subscriber as well.
Monroe, Louisiana, in the house. I got it this time for you, Chuck.
But you got to put some respect. The way them Louisiana teams whooped up on us, boy. You better put some respect on Louisiana.
Nashville. Since you put it that way, Nashville.
Chuck, yeah, man. Grambling and Southern, man. They took it to us, man. I did not see that one. I knew it'd be a tough one, but boy, we'll get into that here a little bit. EA coming in. Exactly. Checking in today. FAMU tomorrow, FAMU forever. For real. Hey, Gail. Good to see you, Gail.
Hey, Gail.
Thank you for checking in. Always love your support.
Hello.
Good to see you. Hello. Let's see. Little baby said they're expecting loads. Where's little baby at? Little baby, where are you at? Wait.
PC, I think.
Woo. On the beach, keeping it cold. God bless y'all, man. Mary, good to see you. Mary 305 checking in. Thank you for being a JBN subscriber as well.
What's up, Mitra?
JT
Don't worry, Mitra.
Checking in.
Mitra, I got you. I ain't gonna let him skip you.
Wait a minute. Where? Oh, I thought I said. I didn't say. I'm sorry, Demetra. I thought I had said hello. See, I thought I said hello. That's all right. Doc is in the building.
What's up, Doc? How you doing, Doc?
Good to see him. Thank you for being a moderator as always in the chat. Appreciate you, Shako.
What's up?
Thank you. Now see, now that's a sign of the apocalypse. Now, Mary, if snow comes to Miami, I'm done. It's over. And you know that you got wildfires in the West, you got snow in Atlanta. If it comes to Miami, it's over. It's over. I'm praying harder. That's all I'm saying. Praying harder. Reggie, good to see you, Reggie. Thank you for checking in. Yeah, you know, I'll be talking about how we can make these O&G shirts available to you guys coming up here. I'm working on that. It's in the works. I hadn't forgotten. It's in the works. Thank you for recognizing. Appreciate you. Let me see. Ron Jab coming in. Thank you, Ron. Jab? Appreciate you. Marcus checking in. Good to see you, Marcus. Thank you also for being a JBN subscriber. The 561 in the house.
In the house.
Yes, indeed. Looks like Alice with a little bit of news that the Marching 100 will be in the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. parade this weekend. Hubba hubba. Good to know. Good to know. Dex checking in. Dexter Martin.
Hi.
Good to see you checking in.
Let me do it properly. Hi.
Good to see you, Nehemiah Jefferson checking in as
Nehemiah?
well.
Tallahassee finest.
Karen Griffin getting in. Good to see you, Karen.
California, what's happening?
Let's see. G checking in from the Emerald Coast, Fort Walton Beach.
What's up, G?
Carrie Daniels. Good to see you, Carrie, representing Duval. Look, it's cold. Look, I'm in Orlando and it was 40, 50. It's 50. I don't know. I didn't think it was that cold, but okay. I guess I don't know. Maybe it's because y'all out on the Gulf. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. But okay. So that's a little bit of the shout outs. I know there'll be some more people that'll check in here shortly. You know what? I realized, Kelvin, I didn't pull in my graphic here. We've also, I mentioned here that besides the fact that, it is a full schedule, as we can say, this is one of the busiest weekends coming up, the first busy weekend of 2025, as not only do we have men and women's basketball playing, we've also got track and field that will hopefully get off, hopefully they'll start their second half of their season if things go well, right? What else? Tennis
Bowling
will hopefully be back on the court. Bowling will be back. So yeah, all of that. Let me take a second and first off, wish a heavenly happy birthday to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who celebrated it. Today is his birthday. Of course, we celebrate the national holiday on Monday, but today being the actual birthday of Dr. King, had a good time. Always a good time when you have these kind of days like this as a history and government teacher, and having a chance to kind of share, even if it's for nothing but a 10-minute segment, a little history lesson, making the kids kind of do a little research and reflection on Dr. King. Never a bad day. Also, got to give a shout out to the beautiful ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I salute you. Thank you for, my mother, of course, was an AKA a golden diva, golden life member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. And she pledged at Norfolk State University. My sister, of course, grad chapter. She's holding it down in the ATL. So I say much love to all of the beautiful AKAs out there and enjoying Founders Day. And I'd be remiss if I also give some love on Monday. The ladies, the beautiful ladies of Delta Sigma Theta had their Founders Day on the 13th. So shout out to the Deltas, the AKs, a lot of fraternities and sororities having Founders Day. I think I heard about like six have celebrations during the month of January, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think the Omegas, the Sigmas, the Kappas. That's 5. Am I missing somebody? Did I miss somebody? Maybe. I think that did the Alphas have theirs this month or last month? I don't know. But anyway, salute to all of the organizations that are having their Founders Day during the month of January. All right. Good deal. And yeah, definitely if you've got a family member that's a member of the sorority or fraternity, make sure you show them some love. Especially being HBCUs, we understand the impact the Divine Nine organizations have in the community that we are in. So, okay, yeah, okay. See, okay. I'm not messing with you, EA. Exactly. Okay, thank you. The Alphas were in December. Appreciate it. Okay. Oh, the Omegas were in. Bull says the Omega. I think the the Omegas were in November. I'm sorry. Okay. See, I'm getting it up. So anyway, I'm just trying to going off the top of my head. So anyway, what up, Ashton? Good to see you, Ashton. Thank you for checking in. Okay, let's before EA runs amok here. I'm like, Jesus. Oh man. Okay, so this past weekend, a tough 2-game stretch in Louisiana. Started with a tough stretch in Southern in Baton Rouge as the women lost that contest 77-61. The men turned around, didn't have nearly as good a game, 91-57 in that contest. First loss for the ladies since December 1 in that contest. Game was a tie ball game at the end of the first quarter, 16-16. Southern would outscore FAMU 20-13 in the second quarter to take a 7-point lead into the half. Coming out of the half, probably your highest producing quarter for both teams, but Southern actually outscored us 22-20 in that third quarter, down 9 going into the third quarter, got away from us as Southern would outscore us 19-12 in that fourth quarter. Final score 77-61. Just looking at a few numbers here. Yvette Subrets led FAMU with 13 points. Might have been one of her best shooting nights of the season from beyond the arc. She was 4 of 7 from 3. Cheyenne McEvans, who played all 40 minutes, had 12 points, 6 assists, 3 steals. Sydney Hendricks had 11 points and 7 rebounds off the bench. Southern's Anaya Gordine had 18, 10, and 8. Damn near had a triple-double. So pretty rough day for the ladies. Anything you want to add there from the women's game, Kelvin? Anything that stood out?
Well, we got off to a decent enough start in terms of the first quarter. We were tied, but as the game went on, they created distance, and I think we actually caught back up at the end of the third quarter. And then fourth quarter, was a watch. And it's the same thing. Both teams, both games. And I'll get into that a little bit more, but you can go on to the men's for now.
For the men, they dropped to 0-2 in conference play as the men struggled once again from the three-point arc, only shooting 26% from the arc, while Southern shot 45%. If I counted the number of teams that seem to be shooting really well from behind the arc against us, I think those are our biggest games. We were down 53-26 at the half. I mean, got all kinds of people. Carlos Brown texting and trolling me at halftime, and I'm like, yeah, Carlos, but anyway, just a tough first first half. Played a little better in the second half, only outscored by 7. But again, committed 15 turnovers. The problem was Southern played a really clean game. Southern only committed 6 turnovers in the game, shot 53% from the field, including 46 from the arc if you total that up. Sterling Young led the team with 19 points on 7 of 16. He hit 3 threes. But Southern is a very good team at that point in the season, unbeaten in the SWAC, 8-8 overall. And Coach Crary said that Southern, he basically said that the first 3 teams on the schedule were going to be the toughest teams he felt of the season. He really had a high regard for Bethune, Southern, and Grambling. Any thoughts you want to add there on the men's game? Okay.
They played. It was a game.
What?
It was a game. Do you see that score? I mean, I gotta admit, man, I can deal with a loss, but that loss in the competitiveness just is a worrisome trend. We got the 2 worst teams, both on the men and women's side, coming to our house, starting tomorrow with the women, and we have to go 2-0. Or this season can look a whole lot different very quickly.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, we're still missing a couple guys on the men's side. On the men's side, I don't think at all in this Louisiana trip. I don't think we saw Chapman, and I don't think Washington played. Both guys who, if healthy, are key contributors on this team. So, yeah, I'm sorry to.
I hear you. I hear you, but there's a little concern there. I was looking at the men's point differential. Now I'm going back to last year's team, right? And I'm seeing, and I'm gonna tell you what specifically is troubling me. Last year we had the issue of putting points on the board. Generally 65 get to 70 points with wins, but we were averaging like 56, 54, somewhere around there. And I'm looking at just our SWAC games right now. And Grambling was the first time we hit 70, but we scored. Well, I'm gonna go back to Tarleton State. So we scored 60 against Tarleton, 55 against Bethune, 57 against Southern, and then 72 against Grambling. Hey, basketball is a game where you got to put the ball in the basket, man. And with us supposed to be in this 3-point shooting team, I'm gonna just say this right now. We can occasionally be decent when we take rhythm, good 3-point shots, but we're not a 3-point shooting team. We might as well stop that right now.
I don't think you can stop that, because that's who we are.
That's not who we are.
Well,
the stats say that ain't who we are. So you may want to consider some other things like speeding up the pace, easy baskets.
The personnel dictates. The personnel dictates what this team should be. Guys aren't fulfilling their end.
They are not shooting. They are not shooting the ball.
They're not. No, they're shooting. They're just not making.
Well, the same thing. And see, I just stuck with the conference games and the games we should be competitive in. But that trend was the same. And I remember a comment about, well, we going to the SWAC now. We in the SWAC play. When the question was asked, what's going to be different? What can we look forward to? Well, SWAC play some SWAC team. There's some SWAC teams that play some pretty good ball. Southern has out of conference runs against Group of 5 schools, and so I mean,
okay,
we got
these are the.
We need some confidence.
Okay,
it's tough to watch these games, man. When you look like this, I'm just saying, as a fan.
Exactly. I mean, look,
it is
what it is. Also, okay, so moving over quickly here into to Grambling on Monday night. Thank you. And hey, apologies to anybody who paid the fee to watch those games on the Southern Jags Sports Network. Because I know they charge you I think they might have charged you $10 per game, which on a doubleheader night is brutal. The fact that they charge you for both games. But anyway, so I will start by saying shout out to Grambling State Sports Network for at least making the game free and accessible on their YouTube page. But a rough night for the women. Actually, you see the final score, losing 78-64. It was a tie ball game at the end of the third quarter. We actually went up 2 very early in the fourth quarter, gave it back on a 3-pointer, retook the lead on another 3. Demaya Griffin hit 5 early points with 7 minutes to play. 7:13 to play. FAMU is up 2. Notice I said we had scored 5 points in the first 2 minutes, nearly 3 minutes of the game. We scored 7 in the quarter. Grambling outscored us 21-7 in the fourth quarter. So essentially, you could say Grambling went on a 19-2 run in the final 7 minutes of the ball game to close the game out and win by 12. That's tough.
And we had a couple of people file out too. I know some people were, I'm used to it, having watched the SWAT games and how they officiated even in Lawson, so it didn't surprise me. But yeah, we had 2 people with 5 fouls. I think
two starters.
And then
Sidney Hendricks fouled out, and Sabu Gay fouled out with 5.
Yeah, and then we had 3 more with 4. So I mean,
yeah, Cheyenne had 4. Nia Bostic had 4. Yeah, tough night overall. Grambling, you can't beat teams when one young lady by herself went to the free throw line 20 times. I mean, by herself, she nearly went to the free throw line more than our entire team. We had 25 free throw attempts. A young lady from Grambling, she was 15 of 20 by herself. They were 27 of 35. So yeah, it was a rough day. I don't know if that's officiating or home calls or just us being
a little bit of all.
A little bit of it all, right?
Yeah, and I think on the women's side, the key is really going. I don't know what the injury status is of Delancey and Purifoy,
yeah.
But Purifoy especially is a big thing because that's what we're missing, a point guard to get the ball to our wings in good locations where they're comfortable at, so they can be consistent. We just have too many droughts. Like the ladies, they score 16, 20, in the first quarter, then they'll come back and score 11, 9 in the second quarter, then they'll come back in the third and have a good quarter, then fourth quarter, so we just got to get more consistent with it with our scoring.
Yeah, I think that's the second year in a row we've gone to Grambling and lost a game that if you were watching the game, you felt was winnable, but we lost in the fourth quarter. That's a tough fourth quarter. But anyway, so the ladies, and that, they dropped that game. And then finally wrapping it up here with the men, they lose 79-72. 39-30 trailing at the end of the half. Closer ball game in the second, but never quite able to close that gap. Milton Matthews had a career high, a Division I career high with 27 points. Sterling Young added 19, but it wasn't enough in this contest. So so right now both teams, of course, the men are 3-11 overall, 0-3 in conference play. The women are 1-2 in conference play, 4-10 overall. We'll talk more about the games ahead. But let's take our first break because right on the other side, we got Coach Colzie on in the green room. So let's get those questions that you have, any thoughts, questions that you have, put them in the chats. And if we usually have time during the show, we'll make sure to come to them. But coming up right after this break, Coach James Colzie III, head coach, Florida A&M University Football, will be joining us. You're watching the O&G StrikeZone right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is Bryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Looking for the ultimate cultural experience of 2025? The Zora Outdoor Festival of the Arts is where you need to be. From January 31st to February 2nd, Eatonville, Florida will come alive with incredible live performances from the Levert Experience and the Bar Cave. Immerse yourself in interactive art. Shop from over 80 vendors. Take a journey through history with a new virtual tour app. And enjoy family-friendly STEM activities. Plus, don't miss the unforgettable R&B tribute to the legends, honoring talents such as Whitney Houston, Marvin Gaye, and Luther Vandross. This is more than a festival. It's a celebration of Eatonville's rich cultural heritage. Visit zorafestival.org for tickets.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia from She Say Sports. Make sure to check us out every Friday morning at 9 a.m. on Black College Sports Network, YouTube, and Linktree. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page.
All right, welcome back to the O&G StrikeZone. Bryan, Kelvin, and for the first time in 2025, we say hello and Happy New Year to Coach Colzie, Coach James Colzie III, head coach of our beloved Florida A&M University Rattlers. Coach, this is the first chance I get to see you. We get a chance to see you and say to you, so we say Happy New Year and hello. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, guys. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, Coach.
We're doing great, Coach. We're doing great. And, I'll echo what I tweeted at you to bring in the new year, but I'll say it publicly again to everybody, man. 2024, we thank you for just the way that you handled everything, just being a first-year coach, kind of coming into the situation, starting as the interim and then taking over. And just the grace, the class, the humility, your accessibility, all of it that made 2024 a great first year to cover for you. As you reflect back now on a year in the position, what was 24 like for you personally?
Well, I'll start off and just reiterate, and thank you for allowing me to be in front of you. I know I'll say this. I think we made it interesting. That's for sure. 2024 was definitely an interesting time, an interesting year. Some highs, some lows, but definitely learned a lot. Obviously, second opportunity to being a head coach, but obviously to this magnitude, it was extremely interesting. But but also, just learned a lot from our guys. Learned a lot just from the overhaul, just of everything that happened throughout the year. Having to make some tough decisions throughout the season. So, learning from it. Obviously, there was a lot of effort and time put into getting ourselves ready, getting ourselves going, and again, just learned a lot just throughout the year, and hoping to just learn from the lessons as we get ready for 2025.
What's something you learned about yourself, or maybe something that as you do your reflection and as you have reflected, maybe something that you look back on and say, I wish someone would have told me about this or that, or, didn't do that the way I wanted to do it when I first took the job?
Well, you're seeing now, right? I mean, just some of the changes that we made at the end of the season. I think that, it's extremely important to get in the staff that, you would definitely want to have. I think that's probably one of the things for me, obviously getting the job at the time that I did, and then not necessarily going out and maybe going to get a staff that I could say I'm 100% comfortable with. That was, probably one of the big things for me. I think when you go in, you want to make sure you feel that you're 100% protected. You feel that you're 100% supported. And obviously doing some of these things now as we continue to get our staff filled, but that's probably just be one thing. I know timing didn't necessarily work out that way, but as we, navigate through what we're going through now, my staff is going to be filled with people that I know, guys that I've known for for a long period of time. HR doesn't allow me to say a lot of the names, but this will be a staff that not just is going to be comfortable with me, but also going to be comfortable with everything that entails with being a full A&M football coach.
I'm glad you said that, and that's something that I think me personally, we kind of sensed, but we understand. You have to you're coming in, and when you're taking over, it's sort of you're working with people, and you're trying to. Every year is a year of an adjustment. So I understand that. Go ahead, Kelvin. Let's get in there with a couple.
Coach, I'm gonna fire off the first shot right quick.
Let's do it.
So talk about what you can in terms of coaches that have departed, or coaches that you brought on where the paperwork may be finished, or just kind of talk about, and what are you looking for in terms of coaches that you're bringing on? What does Rattler Nation should expect?
Well, obviously guys that are great, man. First and foremost, and I'm not saying any of the guys that we let go weren't, but just you want quality men, guys that are going to work hard, guys that are going to be there for the players at all times, and on top of that, gotta be great coaches, right? I want guys that have developed players, not just at this level, but other levels, right? So you got an offensive line coach coming in. He's been great at the place that he was at. Got a running back coach that's been great at the place that he's at. Right, our wide receiver coach, he's a younger guy, but he's been great at the place that they've been at, as far as not just as people, but as developing players and developing young men, where academics and athletics were equally important. I know over the last few years we've also had just a special teams coordinator. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have a special teams coordinator, but he'll also coach a position. So just kind of doing some different things, and just things that to my liking, as opposed to just, hey, here's your job. Try to stay with it as much as you can, but just maneuvering a little bit different. As the head coach, this past year, I kind of was overlooking everything. Where now there'll be more of me, I guess, being on the defensive side as well. So just just making a few changes here and there, but changes that I feel are going to be very, very important for us moving forward, and just maintaining our success that we've had over the last 3 years here at Florida A&M.
Okay, so to that point, who's calling plays on offense? Who's calling plays on defense?
Well, I'll say this: I have not completed my staff just yet. Once I complete it, we'll go from there. Again, we had some pretty monumental changes on offense, and defensively some minor changes, but I got to let it play out, and then I know y'all will have me back on.
Okay. Let's into that point. So who's handling recruiting?
Well, our staff has, right? I mean, we brought in a director of recruiting, early in the year. So, Bree Cobbs has been handling that for us since we've started. And then after that, it's just not on one person. For us as a staff, right? I mean, we've been doing that, over the last, not just these last month or so, but we have been we've been recruiting since day one, right? So, Bree Cobbs has been the one that's been handling it. The director, she's getting all of our official visits. I think we're sitting at about an 80 to 85% clip as far as bringing guys in and them coming to us. So she's doing a great job, but it's not just her. It's our staff, our coaches. Our coaches that are still with us have done a great job. Even though we have been missing some people.
All right, Bryan, I'm gonna let you get in.
Let me go to, as we sort of look back on 2024. I'm gonna catch. I know I caught it during the year for this, but I want you to talk about the pressure of the streak at home and just how that affects. How it affected the team going into that week. I mean, obviously coming off the loss at Prairie View and then coming into that game, dealing with that opponent, and then following the game, just sort of a change in the mindset, it felt like, following that game. If you could just talk about just all of that. Because I felt personally, I'll be honest, I felt like that was a lot for any new coach, just like it is following anybody who had a lot of success. And so if you would just kind of talk about that.
Well, well, the streak itself, I think you have to just discuss that. I mean, extremely disappointed, for the streak to even end, especially on the type of game that we lost. You had a game where we outrushed, we outgained, we did everything except outpoint a team, and then obviously, Mississippi Valley going through what they were going through throughout the week. But, I think the pressure that you saw, wasn't necessarily the streak. I think just after the fact, our guys understanding that, no matter how talented that you are, I mean, you got to come in and play every week, and again, I hats off to Coach Wade and his staff and what they were trying to do and what they were going through before they played us. But, the light was, we that was also the week we made the change as far as play calling and I sat our offensive staff in here before I made that change, and I said, listen, guys, I'm not, I've kind of been, kind of giving a little bit of autonomy to the offensive side of football where after that game, it was like, hey, guys, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. We made the change of play calling. We made some personnel adjustments. Like this guy's got to be running the football. I need us to be this type of offense. And then obviously you saw the last 2 weeks kind of how we were. We weren't a pass-happy team. We were going to grind the football, and some would say we probably should have been doing that throughout the season, which again, just kind of putting my thumbprint on what we're going to be doing offensively, what we're going to be doing defensively, and then what we're going to be doing special teams wise. So, that was, again, I think for our seniors, we wanted to keep the streak. Obviously, that was not the intent, but our next 2 weeks, our 2 weeks of practice after that were some of the best that we've had. But I think just the focus was a heck of a lot better. We wanted to make sure we finished strong. We wanted to make sure our seniors finished strong. But that loss we definitely learned from, and I think that's going to also help us moving forward as we get ready for the season.
And one other question regarding 2024. I remember you talking early in the year about with all of the transfers. I mean, we lost a lot of players, some 40 some odd players. And I remember you really emphasizing the importance of how well the group would be able to communicate and connect. Like the talent may be there, but how they communicate and connect with one another is going to matter.
Yep.
When you look at the stretch of the season, do you feel like the leadership of the team was as good as that you had hoped it would be, as it could have been? Did it get better later in the year? Talk a little bit about that, if you would, in the leadership of the upperclassmen and just that communication and bonding of the team throughout the year?
And that's a great question. I think that, we talked about being able to play together, I think when we went through it, when you go 7-5 with the type of talent that we had, I think the first answer is going to be no. I think, we didn't mesh or play together as much as we needed to. I think that, there was times throughout the year, guys wanted the football, we only had one ball, and then you look at some of the talent that we had on the offensive side, and, maybe we were getting into the right people, maybe we weren't getting into the right people, but ultimately guys wanted the ball more. So was there a little bit of sense of selfishness? Maybe, but you're excited about guys wanting the football more. But I just thought, as we went through the season, again, injuries did mount up on us, but
yeah,
you build your football team during the spring. You build them during the off season. You build them during the spring. Well, at this stage, we're a lot farther ahead because of the guys that we're bringing in the spring. We're bringing them in now. They're lifting right now. Where when we got to last summer, we brought in 20 to 25 guys during the summer, asking them to mesh with a team that did a lot during the spring. You guys watched our spring game. Yeah, we moved around well, but our talent was nowhere near where it needed to be, which ultimately made us make the decision that we did need to bring in some other guys, right? But you got to get these guys in the weight room. You got to get them through the fourth quarter stuff that we do. You got to get them through the mat drills. You got to be able to get them the opportunity to fight through whatever adversity together during this time frame. So, that's been our focal point. Our guys last year did not have the ability to be together, fight together, mold together, grind together. It was just a bunch of guys that got here during the summer, and we were hoping to bond. So, our talent was there when we played together. You guys saw it, man. We did some really, really good things, but then there was also times where we were at times pretty selfish. Wanting the ball, and when we did get the ball, or any type of undisciplined penalties that we may have had. So as we moved to the 2025 team, the focal point was making sure we brought in more maturity, right? More maturity to our football team. Guys that have been there before, maybe at other levels, but have been there before, and understand that, hey, you're going to be in a big time setting when you're playing football here at Florida A&M. We're going to be playing big time college football. We're going to be on TV, a lot, and all those other things, but we got to act like it. At times I don't think we did that, which is disappointing, but, I'm Jalen Goss, TJ Lee, Kendall Bowler, the seniors that we had, I thought they did a great job of leading, and then after the loss, they did an even better job of leading, because ultimately at the end of the day, those were the guys that were playing. I take the heat, no problem. And I told them that, let me take it. I just need you guys to play better, play together, and we had we had two football games that were very, very tight. We had an opportunity to fold. We did not fold. We kept playing. And then a lot of people, when Alabama A&M came in that last game of the year, there were some people that thought we might lose that game. You know what I mean? And ultimately, I thought we played our best game, probably over the last 4 or 5 games. So, guys pulled together. Again, that's just a sign of our leadership that we had. Ultimately, I just wish I would have done a better job of meshing and bringing our guys together, maybe in the summer, or something that we could have done during training camp. But guys, the talent was there. I just felt that, hey, we didn't mesh like we needed to. And ultimately that falls on my shoulders.
Go ahead, Kay.
Yeah, you kind of right where I wanted to go, Coach. So closing out 2024 and looking forward to 2025, if you look at our depth chart and who's projected to come back, we've seen just a few, not many, kids who've jumped into the portal. And so if everybody does what they need to do in the classroom, come back and, do what they need to do in terms of being a good teammate, it looks like we have a very good core. Yes. That'll be returning. And you brought in have committed some really good pieces. What do you feel we need with the new staff in terms of your roster management? What are you looking for? And when you talk about the recruiting aspect, talk about you mentioned about bringing in some guys who've got more experience in season. And so just kind of talk about the high school, the JUCO ruling now. So some kids that were on the squad may have another year. Just kind of talk about the recruiting landscape.
Well, I think right now, obviously, drop ad is almost coming to a close at the university, and believe it or not, we're still trying to grab another one or two as we go in. But I think when you hit next week, you have a clear idea of what our needs are. You know, we mentioned how many guys we lost last year and trying to see where we're going to go. But I think at this time, you know what your needs are. So now when you get to the summer, you're not bringing in 20 to 25 guys. Now you're specifically going after a defensive end. We need one of those. So now when we recruit, when we're not going after any more of this, we need a defensive end that can rush the passer, right? On the offensive side, you got a bunch of guys. You got a bunch of offensive linemen that you have coming back. 2 of our all-conference, all-American offensive linemen are coming back. So now we're just we're kind of pigeonholing. Hey, we need a big-time center and maybe another tackle. You know what I mean? So you're really just, as opposed to trying to get everybody, you've got, Bree and the staff that's here and our new guys that are coming in, we've done a really, really good job of just IDing our needs. We know what we need as we get ready for the portal. And I have to do not a better job. I just have to do a good job of saying no, because all of our guys, they want everybody. You know what I mean? But we've ironed out. We've got some key pieces at the wide receiver spot. We've got some really, really good pieces at the DB spot. We got a couple D linemen that I think, that are going to help us interior wise. And you speak to the defensive side of the football, they're going to tell you, they're going to say, we do need a defensive end. You've seen the success that we've had when we had a very, very good defensive end. For some reason, when you have a good defensive end, that defensive backfield is also very, very good. So, so we've been able to pigeonhole as far as what we need per position. And now as we get ready for that next portal to open up, that portal session to open up, we know exactly what to go after. Now, when you speak about the new rule for the junior college, we don't really have any benefits with that, just primarily because a few of the guys that we did have in that possibility of maybe coming, they did attend an NCAA institution before they attended the JUCO. So that kind of X'd them out as far as, believe me, we had a couple guys that we thought we may get back, but with that new rule, it doesn't help us. It doesn't help us one way or the other. But, again, we're still trying to close on maybe 1 or 2 more guys, but I think offensively, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys on the offensive side of the football. Defensively, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the defensive side of the football. And I thought we did a very, very good job showing up our 3 special team spots that we needed to do as well.
Okay. And so, Coach, as your staff first of all, when do you expect most of your staff to be filled out? I know you can't say exactly, but
I bother HR every day, so I'm gonna just say whenever they get tired of calling me, maybe then that's me calling them. Then hopefully they're done. But I know our HR is doing a hell of a job trying to fine tune and get this thing done for me, and I appreciate everything that they're doing. But I got to make sure we go through the process. And Miss Angela Suggs, I call her boss. She's doing a great job making sure we all get this done. So, it's going quick, but maybe not quick enough to my liking. But I completely understand.
Okay, and kind of talk about what the spring is going to look like in terms of when do you start your mat drills and off-season conditioning, and have you started this big think about when you're going to start the spring's practice and the spring game?
You're making me get my calendar, aren't you? So my calendar right now, so what we did was obviously we had our first week of classes last week, but that first week I let our vets and our new guys just get, some guys got to get cleared, some guys got to get hours, we don't bother them. We allowed them that week to get done, but this past Monday, we had our first lift. So we had 3 lifting groups. We're going to lift Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So ultimately today we had a day off. But it looks like, if I'm going by my calendar, we'll have 17 lifts before we have our first mat drill, which will be February 11th. And again, it gives us a chance to our new guys mesh with our old guys. I love the fact that we had our team meeting. I want to say our first team meeting was January 5th. Where I spoke and our staff spoke to them, but January 12th we had our own team meeting and it was player only. and those guys talked about the expectation. They talked about the standard. They held that meeting, and it took about an hour, is what I was told, and it was great to see, great to hear. So, you have guys that are already trying to start to instill what the standard is supposed to be here, and also understanding that even though we did have some wins, but the standard was not met. Right, the standard is to play for the SWAC championship, to play for the Celebration Bowl and win the Celebration Bowl. So even though, yes, we had some highs, but it's extremely important, not just to the people in the locker room, but to our fan base and our alumni, to be where we're supposed to be, which is obviously being playing for a championship. So we had a great meeting there, but Monday we had 3 lift groups. We had a great day. Tuesday we had 3 lift groups. We had a great day. So we're way ahead than where we were almost 365 days ago.
Okay. Good stuff.
Good stuff, Coach. Let me. It's not quite like the 220 Club where they hit you with a bunch of questions, but they have you active in the chat. At least this way, unless you recognize a name, you don't really got to see them. So we can go any direction with questions. But a lot of the Rattlers who are in the chats, they got a lot of questions. So if you still got some time and don't mind me going through a few of them, I see what we got here. So I got a question here. You may have touched on this a little bit, the play calling, but it has to do with Coach Burris, who called those plays in the last 2 games. Are you feeling like I don't know if you can say will he be the OC? Are you thinking heavily towards that? What's your thoughts there on Coach Burris and maybe the job that he did, or what you can speak on about how it'll look for him in 2025?
Well, I'll say this: in 2024, when we made the change, I'll kind of give you a prelude of what happened when we obviously having the loss against Mississippi Valley. We had an offensive staff meeting that Sunday, and I didn't even discuss it with him. I don't even know if he was even ready for it. But when we made the change, I talked to the entire staff, and that's what I said. I said, we were going to make a change in play calling, and I didn't even. He was very, very surprised. But I went from our full-time coaches to our GAs and our student assistants, and that's how it went. So, and obviously the last 2 weeks, him and I, we spoke at depth about what we needed and what I wanted, and obviously you saw kind of where we're at. I can say we will be promoting from within as far as who our offensive coordinator will be, and that is the best thing that I could say.
All right, fair enough. I got that. I can read that. Okay. I'm going to jump around here on some of the questions, guys, so I appreciate everybody jumping in. I'm going to go to some questions I'm even curious about. We'll see what we can do here. Any word on the schedule, Coach? We see a lot of publications. We've heard from potential other coaches about who's coming to FAMU and who we're playing. What can you share about the 4, and I'm hoping it's 4, non-conference games this year? First off, can you confirm, will it be 4 non-conference games? I always like to ask because I know there's some teams that may only play 3 non-conference.
I mean, based on our schedule right now, it looks like we will be playing 4. I will just say this: what you're seeing online is not correct. I will say that. I know we're working on some things, and Boss Suggs is working on trying to get some things for us. And I think it'd be premature for me to do any of announcing for that. I think it's extremely important that, because she's working her tail off to get it done. I think it'd be great for her to be the one that does announce. But I think we're looking at maybe having, we're going to play our 8 SWAC games, but our 4 non-conference games are definitely our 4, out of conference games are definitely on the schedule. But I do know that, I think it'd be amazing once she does announce it.
And speaking of the SWAC schedule, I think this is the first, I want to say this right. This is the first of the 2 years where we played the last SWAC school that we haven't played, which is Alcorn State.
Yes.
So, okay. So we got
we'll play Alcorn State and we'll play Pine Bluff. We do switch up. I think we don't play any of the Texas teams. But we will play Alcorn, and then we will play Pine Bluff. But other than that, we got to go to Southern. Southern came to us, so we will swap out with that. Our home schedule will be those same teams that we had to go on the road to. Now they got to bring the ass down here to Bragg. So and I pardon my French on that, but yeah. So though so we'll Bragg will be filled to the tilt, especially with the teams that are coming to that have to come down here. So
it's gonna be hot. That's gonna be a hot ticket for sure, no doubt. Got a question here regarding individual player James Ash. Does Ash have another year? Will we see?
James Ash has been ripping up the weight room. He's there. He's back. We didn't touch on it, but I mean, we're about 65 to 70 guys back from our team that we just had. You got the James Ashes that are back. You got Ashton Grable that is back. You got Charles Davis that were back. These are guys that were all conference players, right? So, we needed to get James Ash some help in the middle, and we've done that with two guys in the middle. One coming from an FCS program, and the other one coming from a Power 4 program. So, but we are going to need some more from a couple of the guys that we were hoping were going to give us some more. So you're looking at about six guys that were at Division I programs that are now inside. We did show up we did bring one defensive end coming from Kennesaw State, who I think is going to be doing he'll be a really, really good player for us. But in my opinion, we're still missing that dynamite pass rusher, that'll be able to put the pressure on the quarterback. So, I think the other guys can do it, but you guys know what we've been used to coming off the edge, and we did not have that this year, and it was quite evident. So my goal is to make sure we do get at least one, hopefully two of those guys, on the edge. Westmoreland's back. Jamil Sanders, we got some guys that are back that did some really, really good things for us. But we did need to add some depth, but also needed to be a little bit more talented up front.
And a couple of the questions, I mean, obviously you talked about the edge, but quite a few questions have to do with the middle of the defense and that defensive line. Do you feel like you're addressing those needs with our defensive front and the interior of the defensive line? Do you feel like the guys who are returning are making the improvements? What's your evaluation of the defensive line outside of needing to get a little bit better on the edge, as you already mentioned?
Well, we didn't lose anybody, right? James Ash is back. Stantavia Smith is back. Nick Demetrius is back. Who's my other guy? Cam Donald is back, right? Those are all four guys that played some snaps for us. I thought it was important to add DJ Jones, which we did. He's a big-time guy coming from Virginia. He's going to play interior for us. And then obviously Elijah Alexander, another guy that was in the middle, right? So those are six quality guys that have played at the high level, So, we, in my opinion, I feel we've addressed it. But sometimes, General Hunt, who we love to death, he struggled his first year, and then his second and third year, he had great years, right? So, you got guys that we had to replace our front, and we replaced them with freshmen and sophomores. Now these guys are sophomores, juniors, and obviously James Ash is a senior for us. So, they took their lumps, and the thing that they needed to do was get stronger. And that's something that we're stressing. I didn't want to get into doing any OTAs. I didn't want to do any walkthroughs. I want us to lift. And so like I said, our first 17 or 18 lifts before we do anything football related will be in that weight room right now. So, did we address it? We got 6 guys inside to play. If we feel we need to get another one, by all means, I'm not against trying to get another one inside, but we got to go through the spring. We got to go through spring practice to see all of that, right? But Cam Donald didn't go through spring practice. Nick Demetrius didn't. They didn't go through spring practice last year. Cam Donald didn't. Nick Demetrius didn't. Stantavia Smith didn't. Davion Westmoreland didn't. All these guys played quality snaps for us last year, but never ever did we get a chance to see them in spring practice go through all of the things that they need or we needed to see from them to see if whether we needed to get another one or not. So the portal allows us to do that, but I think the biggest thing is those guys are here. They went through their lumps. They know what they needed to improve on. We talked about it in our exit meetings. So now we're going to give them a full off season to see where they're going to be standing once we get done.
All right. Let me see. Got a question here. More of a special teams related question. about having a little bit of a deep threat. Will we have more than one, a couple of kickers that can put the ball in the back of the end zone? I know we had it, then we didn't have it, and that I thought was something that affected us in various ways on special teams.
Well, I mean, we couldn't say much about it in the fall, but I like to be transparent, right? So, we had two guys that were, in our opinion, one of the best in the conference, right? And I'll let this play out for you, but we had the game against Miami, and we were getting ready to kick a field goal, and we didn't make, we had to delay a game, so we had to change the kicker. And then Big Mike Smith went and kicked one about 50 yards in, and kicked about a 50-yarder and went in. And so at that time, right, excited for the kick, but you a week or two later, him and Trey, before we get to the fourth game, were banged up, right, and decided to be out for the year. You know what I mean? So obviously, as we play out, we see what happens. We see what happens after the fall with those two guys. But we can't. You guys can see what those two guys meant to us, special teams wise, as we got through the season. But we missed those two guys, right? We had two opportunities during the Troy game, and then we had one during the Prairie View game where, we couldn't use our deep kicker, right? And then obviously when it got to kickoff time, Michael Smith had 12 to 13 kicks before he decided, before we decided to redshirt him, or before he decided to redshirt. He had 12 to 13 kicks that were kicked in the end zone, so nobody was returning kicks, right? So, and those two guys were very, very important secret weapons that we had. They decided to get surgery, or decided to end their year, and obviously they decided to enter the portal at the end of the year. But those were people truly watch how important those guys were. They saw what happened after they left, right? So, thought, again, and to go to your question, we got two young men, one guy from Western Michigan, another guy who came from Edward Waters. Both those guys have very, very strong legs, and they're coming here to try to win the job. You know what I mean? And we're going to give them every opportunity to do so. Seen them both kick live, seen them both kick on film. Those guys both have the potential to kick the ball in the end zone. And you don't have to worry about any big returns when they don't return it. So, you know what I mean? And but Cam Gillis, love him to death. Great, very accurate, field goal kicker, obviously going 17 for 19, but lacked the ability to kick the ball deep. That's why, during the 23 season, we only asked him to kick field goals. You know what I mean? Because we had Michael Smith who would be doing kickoffs. But, at the end of the day, right, we had to make a decision. Cam Gillis had to do both. And did it affect our field position? Did it affect some of the things that we did on special teams? Absolutely. We went from a seasoned punter to a freshman, with Gunnar Trout, right? So, those two guys, we can't speak on how much it hurt losing those two guys, but it definitely affected us. There's part of me, Trey Wilhoit doesn't drop that punt, that punt snap against Mississippi Valley, right? So, and obviously that, you drop that snap, that kind of changed the game. As far as how that game played out. So, we lost them. They're now, they have gone on to greener pastures, but it was a tough loss when those two guys decided, to end their years with injuries.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Okay, good stuff, Coach. All right, let me go to the always a hot question. Has to do with quarterback and QB1. Several questions. So. One of the questions had to do with we've seen, and again, I realize definitely there's some things you can't speak on, but I'll just say what we've seen. We've seen one particular young man who has made a commitment to come to FAMU. We've seen other QBs that were in the room have chose to hit the portal. We're aware Daniel Richardson, of course, is no more eligibility, we think. What can you tell us about the quarterback room currently, and what can you tell us about what you are wanting to add to the quarterback room?
Well, I want us to be dual threat, and I think that when you bring a guy like Tyler Jefferson back, to the state, right, a guy who went to Central Michigan, and showed, that he could do that at the higher level, and then obviously showed what he could do at the high school level, right? So, getting a guy like that to come back, and show what he can do. Then obviously, you have Junior, who's kind of been waiting, he's been waiting, right? Been waiting for his opportunity, and then extremely excited for what Bryson Mayo. We think that not Bryson Mayo, Bryson Martin. We're extremely excited with what he can do as well, right? So, we haven't named the number one. We're allowing guys to lift. I'm not going to do anything football related until we get, once we get into that first week of February. But there's going to be some tweaks in what we're doing offensively. So we want to make sure we give everybody the equal opportunity to learn what we're doing. But you got 3 guys right now that are learning. You got a guy that's coming from Indiana that's here. He's learning, and then obviously we had a high school guy, right? That's coming in and he's trying to learn. So, I think right now, we don't have a guy yet. And I think, trying to say we're going to name a guy this week, it's going to be tough to say, but there's an opportunity for someone. Daniel Richardson did a really, really good job for us, obviously being, highly regarded when he got here. The one thing he said to me when he left, he was, Coach, I wish I would have won you more. You know what I mean? And obviously, I love that sentiment, but, Daniel Richardson, he told me what he was going to do. I believed him, and for the most part, I thought he did a very, very good job leading our offense. But we're gonna let it play out, man. We're gonna put him under the fire. We're gonna put him under a lot of pressure during the spring, because we gotta have a guy. I don't necessarily want to be waiting until the last week and all that stuff. I want to make sure we have our guy, but but I also want to make sure our guys continue to fight and try to earn that position. Just for the simple fact, right? We lost Daniel Richardson in the Prairie View game, and gave some, and got it, and somebody else had an opportunity to hopefully put us over the top, and we didn't get it, right? Not saying that he wasn't ready, but at this stage of the game, your quarterback, that number 2 has got to be ready. Jackson State quarterback went down, the number 2 went in, and all he was the MVP of the game, right? So those are the things that we want to make sure we strive for. Yes, we want to make sure we get a number 1, but we want to make sure that whoever that next guy is, there's not a fall off. Right, so you got some guys You got some guys right now that I think that they're hungry for an opportunity. They're one of the best jobs in the country is to be the darn starting quarterback at Florida A&M. There's a lot to it, a lot of pressure to it as well. But there's a lot of rewards for that to happen. So a lot of guys want to be in that chair and they want to be in that seat, but there's only going to be one, and that's what we're striving for. So I think the biggest thing that we want to make sure we do, we put them under the pressure, but we also want to see what type of leadership they're going to show while they're in the weight room, while they're working on OTAs, as we continue to move forward.
So we are definitely not done recruiting quarterbacks, I'm hearing.
No.
And do you look at you are looking actively not only from the portal but also high school level? Are you looking?
Oh no, wait a minute. We've signed 4 high school guys already.
Oh, okay.
And then those are guys that you have to the biggest thing with Florida A&M is that our high school guys gotta have test scores, and they gotta have all the things necessary to get into Florida A&M. I love when people send me high school guys. And then this guy's great at so-and-so high school. And then my next question is, what's his test score? Oh, coach hasn't taken the test yet. Well, hey, man, my people in admissions, they got to have test scores. This guy at so-and-so county high school, he's a great player, but he ain't taking the test yet. We went to the state of Georgia's high school state championships. We saw some really, really good players, but if their test scores aren't to the standard of what Florida A&M is, guess what we can't do? We can't bring them in. So I love people sending me stuff, and we want to make sure we bring in as many high school players as possible. But our high school students that we recruit, they got to have the same academic. They have the same academic standards that every other regular student that's trying to enter FAMU has to get in, right? So those are we got 2 guys. I feel that right now 2 guys, and the other 2 that we are definitely looking at that we're going to bring in at the end of December, at the end of January. They're guys that are ultimately we feel are going to commit to us, but we're staying on them about making sure they have the proper GPA, making sure they have the proper test score, because if they don't, then it's tough to explain that we couldn't let them in. But FAMU academically is one of the tops in the country, so we have to make sure we maintain that academic standard as well, with our high school guys. These high school students that are coming in, they're not playing, guys. Their standards are high. The acceptance level is at an all-time high. You know, our guys have to work really, really hard to get into the university. So, you know, and they're not playing. They're not lowering the standards for us football guys.
Good point. Does having Coach Burris and his background and pedigree as someone who's done it at a high level, you know, what type of advantage does that give in the recruiting of the quarterback position, which I think is one of the most important positions on any football team? What kind of advantage did that give us?
Well, I mean, it's great to see him in a room with the quarterbacks, right? You know, you get a chance to sit down and, you got a lot of the guys may not know who he is, right? You know, they might not know anything about him, you know, but obviously when you sit down with him, you know, the minute they get out of the room, you already know that the recruits, they hop on the phone and type his name in, and then they see who he is, right? And then once you Google him up and you see he's thrown for 60,000 yards and he's a Hall of Famer, he's played in the CFL, he's played in the NFL, you know, that credibility is immediate, you know. But then you watch him here, you watch him sit down and talk to the quarterbacks, and then talk to the wide receivers and talk to the offensive linemen about how they're going to fit in to what we do offensively, right? That just makes coming to FAMU even more exciting for the recruits that get a chance to talk to him, right? You know, and I was on the road recruiting, and he went to go speak for me one time, and then everybody, you know, that when I got back, everybody was like, "Hey, Coach Burris did an amazing job filling in for you." So now I realize I can't send Coach Burris anywhere no more. I can't let him fill in for me no more. Hey, he did too well, you know. And but you know, obviously, you get a chance to talk to him, and you see him, and you know, and you hear him speak, and you hear him talk. And we went to Fried Chicken Wednesday today, and had lunch, and he talked about football for an hour and a half. Hey, I'm trying to eat, boss. You know, I got to eat. But he loves football so much, and you get a guy, again, you get him in the room, you talk to him. He lays out the plan for exactly how these guys are going to fit into how they're going to fit into what we're trying to do offensively, you know. And obviously, you know, his track record and where he's been and how he's done. And, you know, obviously you guys got a chance to see it. You guys, our offense was at its best those last two football games. And, you know, you're mad that we didn't get a chance to play another one or another two football games after that because they were only going to get better. So, you know, excited for him, excited for where we're going to be on the offensive side of the football. And, you know, we've talked about the standards. We talked about what we want to see. And he has a clear vision about what I want from our offense. And I'm excited about that.
Yeah. I want to be respectful of your time, Coach. I definitely appreciate you coming in. If you don't, I got maybe two more. Can I get you two more?
I'm in the office. I'm finishing up some things. We got lifts in the morning, so as long as you don't keep me till 7:30 in the morning, I'm good. I'll be at lifts. I'm good to go.
Look, they be telling me sometimes I can go too long, but all right.
Coach, so, we've been trying to get on for a minute, and I had to do some recruiting, and I figured that the longer I took to get on, the more questions I was gonna get. So it's all good.
Okay. I love it. All right. You hear that, Rattler Nation? Coach is hanging in there with us. We appreciate you coming in, watching the O&G StrikeZone. Make sure to hit the thumbs up and the like button wherever and however you're watching us. Let me transition. My guy, Jimmy Mack, asked about how we're doing from an APR perspective. And I had a couple other people ask about how the team is doing from an academic standpoint. Can you touch on and talk on that a little bit?
Well, you know, I'll say this: APR. You know, you don't really judge APR until in the spring, right? But you know, we had about 5 or 6 guys this semester out of the 107 guys that we had that did not meet what they needed to meet academically. You know what I mean? Which is a lot better than, you know, I want to say in the past. Well, you know, I when they did our overall GPA, I think they said it was at like a 2.72 or something like that. So we did some good things. We have some guys where, you know, those C minuses can affect you. You know, C minus isn't a 2.0. You know what I mean? So, you know, but overall, I thought we did a good job. You know, but you know, we had about 5 or 6 guys, right, that they got some work to do in the spring. where they got to catch up. So those guys that have work to do, they won't be lifting with us. They're going to take care of their schoolwork. So, it does us no good to have you in there lifting if you're not going to be taking care of your academics, right? So we're going to make sure for the first 2 months, take care of the academics. Once I see a quality progress report and see them doing what they need to be doing academically, then they'll join us. But right now there's about, like I said, 4 or 5 guys that are taking care of their academics right now, where we have about another 90 that are going to be lifting over the next month or so.
All right, appreciate that. And do you feel with the way the not NFL, but the NIL and the changes that are happening with the transfer portal, is that affecting the academic aspect of the fact that this is still college and there's still as much as people are seeing the money and seeing the transfer, do you feel, is it harder? Talk about that, being able to talk to young people about how important it is to stay on top of the educational aspect of this opportunity when all these other things are happening around them.
Well, I think those are, to be honest with you, I think those are 2 different conversations, man. I mean, okay. you get a guy coming from another university, you know what I mean? And when they come to us, right, we have to evaluate transcripts. We have to evaluate how many classes are going to be brought in to Florida A&M, and some of the conversations they care, some of them they don't. We all know the older they get, right? When they start getting to that 3rd, 4th year, progress towards degree, how many hours do they bring in? So if they don't bring a certain amount of hours to begin with, we can't talk to them anyway, right? I mean, we got some guys that right now, if they're going into their 4th or 5th year and they have only 80 hours, well, they need 96. So they can't do anything for us anyway. So that's really the first conversation that we have. Our compliance director, Kelly Bickham, she takes a look at transcripts. My chief of staff, Jennifer Santiago, they take a look at transcripts. So before we even can talk anything, right, you have to determine whether Florida A&M is gonna bring them in or accept the hours, right? So now once they do that, you know what I mean, now you have that possibility of talking about NIL. And I'll say this, like, this was probably the first time, and even last year, right? Like, we actually lost guys in conference to NIL. And this is, we young man gonna come to us, talk to another school in our conference, and was coming. We get a phone call the next day, hey, coach, gonna make a change, we're gonna go somewhere else. So we're thinking he's going to another Division I program. The next day he's going to a team in our conference. I mean, so had nothing to do with grades, had nothing to do with whether he can get in, whether he wouldn't get in. You know what I mean? So there's a dynamic right now. Like, sometimes guys, hey, it's about school. I want to make sure that the credits come in. You know what I mean? And if they come in, I'm going to come. Where some, hey, coach, I'm in my 2nd year. I don't have to necessarily worry about credits. Well, what's your NIL looking like? Like, what's the NIL? You know what I mean? And like last year, we had our conversation last year. We lost 5 or 6 guys that went Toledo, UCLA, Illinois. Well, we lost 2 or 3 guys this time to other teams in our conference. Because of, and I know it was NIL because they asked me what we had, where are we at? And, we're not necessarily at the top of it, right? And, when we have our conversations, well, then we talk, hey, coach, I think I'm still going to do it. And then they pick another institution that's in our conference. And it's like, well, what's that team doing? NIL, where, normally they're going to come to FAM at the end of the day. If the NIL is not necessarily the issue, kid's in state, he's from the state of Florida, he's gonna come to FAM. Well, I mean, we lost 2 or 3 guys. I mean, I'll be honest with you, we lost. Now we replaced them. We replaced them with I feel, maybe better players. But this was, and to our staff, to our guys that are here with us, was a little bit shocking. Like we lost a kid to a team because of NIL in our conference, which was a little bit, not saying disappointing, but a little bit surprising, just because of the simple fact that we feel we have the best. We're going to be the best. We should have the best. You're going to come to FAMU because you're from the state. You're trying to come home or whatever the case may be. But we know it was a little bit shocking to lose a couple or 3 guys because of that. So to answer your question, it's just different. Like each guy's journey is different to when they change their school, why they're coming. Why they're coming. Like, so you got a couple guys that went to Power 4. They went to Power 4 teams, and you look at who we recruited and who we've signed. They went to Power 4 schools, didn't play. They want to play. They want to come back and play. Right? I'm not worried about any money. I'm not worried about any of that. I already got money. I got money from the previous institution. Right? But now I didn't play. I need to play. My end goal is to get to the NFL. Florida A&M they've already proven that they can get players to the NFL. So I'm going to come to FAM and play. I've already got my money. I'm going to now play. Coach, I want to be an electrical engineer. I want to get my master's. Okay, well, how many hours are we bringing in, and can you get into our grad school? Well, okay, that's another conversation. Well, Coach, I don't really care what you got or what you're doing academically. And to be honest with you, we don't want those. We probably don't want those anyway, as we just had our APR conversation. But we lost them because a couple schools within our conference may have had a little bit more money NIL wise, and now now we probably gotta play against them, right? So there's a lot of different topics. There's a lot of different scenarios. So we take it. You have to take it one by one and really, really kind of go back old school recruiting, where having serious conversations. We can't recruit Twitter. We can't recruit via Instagram. Like, we got to talk to you and your mom and your dad, and we're talking to agents. I mean, like, whoa, agent? You have an agent for what? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's a different it's different conversations. Now and they're really, really more individualistic than, but for the betterment of the team, or you're trying to get a degree, or our conversations are different with these guys per recruit we may be talking to.
That brings up an interesting the way this kind of transition, not where I thought we were going to go, but I think it gives us opportunity to ask something. I know if Marcus were here, Marcus would probably ask this. So Marcus, I'm channeling my inner Marcus Green here. We've seen the structure of college football programs begin to change. Really, a lot of athletic programs start to have that pro type model where you see a general manager. I think we've seen at an FBS level, I'm going to use like a North Carolina where Bill Belichick has gone in and talked about where they have a general manager. Have you explored or started thinking about having those type of conversations with AD Suggs, or even amongst your staff, about finding a way of doing something similar, or finding a way to be able to help manage all of these, as you just talked about, having to deal with agents and all these other aspects that are happening around recruiting? Have you considered or thought about that concept or model yet?
Well, you're learning as you go with some of this stuff, because you think it's just affecting Power 4. You think it's that, but it's hit us. It's hit our level now, right? And I know we have our fan exchange, and I know they're working themselves to get themselves to where we can be, and not just have 6 to 8 players, but 18 to 20. I think the way we were doing it and have been doing it, giving it to the guys that are all conference, all American, things like that. But I mean, and I think we're working towards it, right? Yeah. I mean, but if the one thing I can't do is promise people stuff that we don't have. I'm not being in the paper saying Coach Colzie said we were gonna get this, and then he didn't get it. I can't be in that. I can't be in the paper for that. I like to be in the paper for other reasons. You know what I mean? For positive things, right? So, I think that those are expositions that you feel as you continue to go through this, that they ultimately are going to have to be added. I mean, There's people that just do that. They don't even go to the football field. They're on the phone making phone calls and trying to build deals. And back in the day, that was the head coach. He was doing that as well as trying to be the head coach. But it's so intensive right now where you get to a point where you might just need a NIL general manager. You got a director of recruiting. You have a football operations. You know what I mean? But to continue to be at the table with some of these big time recruits, that NIL piece is gonna definitely have to improve. And again, that's just 2 or 3. Right now, we got guys right now on our roster. We mentioned them earlier that they're gonna get tampered with. They're gonna get tampered with, and D linemen, no linemen, they're gonna get, as it gets closer to the fall, they will get tampered with, right? So you hope to have maybe something that would help them or entice them to stay. You know what I mean? But it's hard. It's hard to turn down 6 figures, and at that Power 4 level, they're giving it away. They're giving it away. I mean, we had one young man that we were looking at. He was a big time running back, and he wasn't even. He was a freshman, and he didn't play this past year, so he was a guy that we were going to bring in, and he was at a group of 5 school, and he didn't even play, and this guy was getting $7,000 to $8,000 a month. He didn't even play. It's like so I'm sitting here. What's the quarterback getting? What's the starting quarterback getting? But that's where that levels is at right now, and I don't think it's going to get any better. I think it's going to get worse, right? So, ultimately, you have to truly have these conversations with these recruits, talk to the parents. The parents are heavily involved, obviously. So you're just trying to figure out per recruit what they're trying to do, what they're looking for, and then once they tell you, you got to make the decision on whether you want to recruit them anymore.
Great point. Thank you for sharing that. Great information.
If I went on for 10, I'm sorry.
No. I mean, that's a great reminder there for anyone watching. You see down on the scroll the simple message about Thanksgiving and connecting in with the Fang Exchange. Any of you watched our show last week? We had Ashley and Colonel Eli on, so I'd encourage you to go to fangexchange.com while they're in the process of their Thanksgiving and help FAMU get to that level where we're not getting poached within our own conference. That's wild. Just that right there. That's a post conversation. I gotta let that digest for a minute. Let me go to a side of the ball in a position that you love a lot, Coach, and that's your DB group. Can you speak on, obviously we're losing guys like Kendall Bowler, Deco Wilson,
Deco's
back.
I'm sorry. Oh, Deco's coming back?
No, Deco's gone. Deco's gone.
Okay.
Oh, he's gone.
Okay, that's what
I wish both of them were back, but now they're both gone.
Okay.
Right. But I mean, can you talk on who's next in the secondary? What's the secondary looking like? I mean, I know we had some guys like a Damari Tate, other guys who came in last year. What's the secondary looking like going into the offseason?
Well, I mean, you guys got a chance to see how good Kendall Bowler was last week in the Hula Bowl, right? He was one of the best DBs out there, and it's similar to 23 where you realize the Javon Morgans and the Eric Smiths, and you got to let them go, and now you have to try to build the next one. I think that we gave up some things last year on the back end, but I think it also attributes to maybe not being able to put the pressure on the quarterback, on the quarterback, right? So I think those go hand in hand, right? Good offense beats good coverage. You know what I mean? I think that, you look at some of the deep balls that we may have given up, right? It's you look at the quarterback being able to stand back there and step up and throw the ball down the field, where in the past, right, quarterbacks didn't necessarily have the time to do that. Well, TJ Huggins learned on the fire. He gave up 3 touchdowns last year, but also had 3 interceptions. He needs to be a heck of a lot better with his technique and with his eyes. Those are things you work on in the spring. We didn't get a chance to play with Brandon Callaway, a young man from Purdue. He had shoulder surgery in the middle of the season, so he didn't play. He's our next guy, in my opinion, to really to iron down that boundary corner position. Amari Lee was a guy that we felt was going to contribute for us last year. He was banged up, and he didn't get back till late in the season. So, our field corner, our boundary corner, we asked for two different types of players to play in those two types of positions, right? Our boundary corner is more of the shutdown guy. Our field corner's got to be a guy who plays in space. So TJ Huggins is back. We got to really, really iron out who our boundary corner is going to be. For 3 years, I had number 3. I had Kendall Bowler, but again, we're gonna have to find out who that guy may be. Corey Collier and Chase Lloyd, 2 guys that played a bunch for us last year, they're back. And then if you looked at who we recruited, we went and got 3 guys one from App State, one from Tennessee State, right? Those, and what's my other man guy from? Like got Lattimore, you have Jalik Thomas, and then you have Deion Villas. Deion Villas was a starting safety for Tennessee State. So we got 3 guys that potentially can fill those roles, but also could potentially be superstars at that roles because they played at the previous institution. That was a big thing for me, man. We, last year taking some shots on some guys that didn't necessarily play at their previous institution. We got 3 guys that played there, right? Brandon Callaway played at Purdue. We got Amari Lee played at UCF. So we got guys that played at their previous institution, decided to come back to the state, right? Decided to come back to the state and wanted to play for us. And so we're excited. We're excited about who we have. I just wish number 3 was walking back into my office. I wish Kendall Bowler was walking back to my office. But hey, it is what it is. You gotta make sure we gotta show them up. But that's what spring practice is all about.
Mm-hmm. How about our depth at running back? Had a couple questions asking about what the running back depth is looking like. I know we got a couple of returners, but what are your thoughts there with who you brought in and who's working out, who we should have in the spring?
We lost one. We lost Wu Dean, obviously, Celebration Bowl MVP in 2023. We replaced him with Jamal Haley from Western Michigan, another guy that played at his previous institution. I think the biggest thing that I wanted to make sure we showed up, I wanted us to be faster. I think that was the biggest thing that when I talked to our staff about what we needed. I needed us to be faster, and not just at the running back position, but across the board, man. I mean, they would tell me height and weight. Hey, can he run? Can he run, right? So I think that was the biggest thing that we did do at the running back position. Jamal Haley, 3-time state champion. He's the guy that can absolutely fly with the football. We had about 3 or 4 runs last year where a guy was caught inside the 5-yard line and we didn't score. After getting caught, we didn't score. Where now you have a guy that if he breaks it, he's gonna hit it, and we ain't got to worry about him getting caught. So but got Thad Franklin, ultimately a guy who finished the season as our starter. Probably a guy that maybe could have probably had 1,000 yards if he was a starter throughout the year. Bo Somerset did a great job as a young guy for us. So, and then you have some guys that Quinn was hurt. Dorian Collier, a young man who's a legacy cat, and he should be a really, really good player for us. He's a guy that came from a Division II school. So, but he did some good things for us last year. So, I think we're pretty good at that spot. But adding Jamal Haley, obviously losing Dean, but adding Jamal, it's going to make us a hell of a lot faster at that position.
Good stuff. Another question, on jumping over, I like this kind of jumping from one side of the ball to the other. So now let me jump over to the defensive side. I think we've almost hit every group. The linebackers, where we obviously I thought Nayron Jenkins, of course, a friend of the program, had a great season in 2024. But what can you speak on in terms of the linebackers, other linebackers like Brian Norris, Eric Horn, some of the other linebackers that are returning? What do you feel like you're adding? And maybe another question, the good old 4-2-5, is it coming back for another year, or might we see some changes in that?
Well, I'll say this. We run a 4-2-5 primarily because of the 11 personnel that we see. So 11 personnel means 3 wide receivers. Therefore, we put 3 DBs out there, right? But I will say this: a lot of the offense that we faced, they were coming in similar to our offense, where they were putting in couple tight ends. So, we when they would come in with tight ends or extra offensive linemen, we would do the same. It's not like we were running a 4-2-5 and teams were bringing out fullbacks and tight ends. Like it's what we match personnel based on who we see. So when you look at our base defense, it's a 4-2-5, right? There's no doubt about it. But that's also because the base offenses that we see are 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers. Well, now we're going to get ourselves into the spring because we brought so many defensive tackles in. We're gonna mix in some 3 down. I think that's going to be important for us to be in the middle. That allows James Ash to be a dominant player at the 0 position, whether he's playing the 0 or whether he's playing the 4-eye. But that also puts some extra linebackers on the field as well. So having the ability to be a 4-2-5, 4-3, 3-4, in those type of situations allows us to be multiple, but it also allows us to get our best 11 on the field based on the personnel they give us, but also based on the personnel that we have, right? So we're gonna be a hell of a lot bigger up front. DJ Jones is about 6'3", 6'4", 290. Elijah Alexander that we signed from Stetson, he's about 6'4", 285. So we'll be bigger, right? Which again will allow us to be 3 down, be 4 down. Be a lot better if we need to be 4-3. So that should help us. Bryan Norris was a guy that we thought was going to be really, really good for us, and he tore his knee up, right before the season started. He was a young man from South Florida. Hell, he played against us when we played South Florida. He played against us and had a couple tackles. So he was a huge loss. But biggest thing for him is able to rehab, so he'll be ready to go for us during the spring. You speak about Nayron Jenkins, man. You can't say enough about that young man. He was kind of he had to put himself out there, put himself in a real big tight spot as far as putting himself and being a starter. He worked his tail off to get himself to that point, but we need to get him some help. So obviously Chance Coleman, a young man who's coming from FIU, he's a linebacker. He came in late for us and will give us some help. So we're looking at about 5 linebackers that played for us last year, and all of them, again, bumps and bruises, but there'll definitely be guys that will be able to help us as we continue to move forward. And then obviously we signed Justice Cross, a guy who's from FAU. The guy had almost over 80 tackles this past year. So he was the 1 linebacker that we did sign to come in and help us as well. So, again, another guy, FAU. He was at Murray State. Murray State is the same place where Coach Smitty Rock was last year. So you have a guy that's extremely familiar with what we're doing on defense. So all he's got to do is just pick up where he left off. But he's every bit of 6'2", 6'3", 210, 215, a guy that can really, really move around the field. So, you'll see some faster guys, some bigger guys, but also some immediate depth at those positions as well.
Nice. Have we set a date yet for the Orange and Green game?
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. Believe it or not, we were in the ticket booth today and trying to set time. So just our first practice will be March 4th. We'll practice Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's our first practice, but then our spring game will be April 12th. That's when we'll play. We'll play the game. I think our softball, we were trying to figure out, but I think our softball team has a doubleheader that weekend, so we're trying to figure out times. I don't want to interfere with our softball program. I want them to make sure they get enough fans as they can get, and then once they get done with softball, come on over to our stadium and watch our spring game. And I get a lot of flack for they don't want our spring game to be at 1:00 because it's going to be 145 degrees. You know what I mean? So we can get that sucker to be at 5 or 6. Lord knows I don't need to get no darker. So I'm gonna try to get it. I'm trying to get that game to be a little bit late. I made a mistake and we're all black on here. You don't see nothing but earlobes right now.
We love you, though. It makes for a great audio podcast. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, look, no. So again, April 12th. So guys, put that on. That'll be a good time. I can make my reservations to get up to Tallahassee that weekend already. Now I'm already gonna make plans to do that. Any idea, Kelvin? Whose softball got that weekend? I know that's probably close to the late in the season, so we'll kind of let everybody know. We'll keep that one on the calendar as a big promotional weekend for April 12th. So appreciate you guys.
They're trying to make it a big weekend for obvious reasons, and I want to make sure that I don't, I don't want to interfere with that.
Right. All right. Well, hey, definitely appreciate you sharing that. And then of course, those of you heard the start of spring practice being in the first week of March. How about I had someone asked about the leadership in the locker room. And I know off season, so it might be kind of hard. I don't know. You just mentioned that you guys are starting, workouts and everything coming up next week. But are there any players that have sort of already started taking on that role? Anybody that you've seen, or guys from last year coming back that should just naturally move into the spot?
Well, Nayron Jenkins, you mentioned, he had to step into that role last year. And, it's amazing sometimes that, the players that are playing the best or playing well are the guys who end up being your team leaders. But Nayron Jenkins did a great job in our team meeting. James Ash, he did a really, really good job. Ashton Grable, Charles Davis. Those are the guys that right now that are stepping up. I'll be in the weight room tomorrow morning at 7:30. So I can definitely get a better grasp as far as where we've been and who's doing what. But the leadership is made in the weight room. The leadership is made in the locker room, and the bond and playing together and being together. That's the most important thing that I want us to make sure we're building on or doing right now.
Okay. Got a question asking what can Rattler Nation do to help the team with nutrition? Especially, we know that's going to be important in the off season and in the spring season. What can Rattler Nation do to help there?
Our 220 Club does a great job. Obviously, with that, I would just say continue to, when I feel like we're always asking for money, but continue to donate to the 220 Club, right, or whoever's helping us with that, because they do a great job with we got people that bring by nutrition. They'll bring by food or whatever the case may be. But those are all the things that they've done a great job. People that have just come by, just if you want to continue to bring by food or fruit or whatever the case may be, our guys definitely will greatly appreciate that.
All right, good stuff. Appreciate that. Let's see what else. Kelvin, anything that you've come across that I haven't got into yet? I'm scanning through. I just been, man, you guys, the coach, we appreciate your time, man. I've been like starring messages left and right here. So I'm trying to get to everybody. How about any, here's one. I had one that had to do about the philosophy, the mantra for this upcoming season. My guy JT asks, is the triple D, discipline, details, dominate, the new mantra this upcoming season? Can you expound on that philosophy?
Well, I mean, you get a chance to kind of sit back and, I had my GAs look up all the penalties that we had. I had my GAs look at our turnovers. I looked at how we handle certain situations. You get to the end of the season, you ask for a lot of things, right? Just things that you try to figure out what you did well and then figure out what you need to work on, and when you get to the discipline aspect, man, we had some really, really costly penalties that affected drives, and some of them were selfish, self-inflicted, so discipline was pretty easy. I think that, there was times that we were a very, very undisciplined football team. I mean, we weren't doing things the right way, and unfortunately it affected us. So that was pretty easy. Now the detail aspect, we did a lot of the big things well, right? But when it came to the small things, right, they became big things. We'd have a big time run and make a great cut and then do this and do that, and then we wouldn't tuck the ball away, right? Cornerback doing everything right, backpedaling. He's supposed to be over the top, and then right at the last minute he goes underneath. And then we give up a touchdown, right? So the big things we did really, really well, but the small things, they became big things, and that hurt us. So this taking care of the details, the details in every single thing that we would do. Now, if we take care of our discipline and we take care of our details with the talent that we have, it should be very, very easy for us to dominate. We had some games where we were going to have a drive and we were getting ready to go up 2 touchdowns, right? And then we didn't. Now the game's close. Now we got to fight, and so those are the 2 things for me. I mean, hey, you're supposed to have your right foot up, That means that's what you're supposed to have. Have your right foot up. Don't ask me why you need your left up. And coach wants you to have your right foot. Got to have your shirt tucked in. Well, why? Because I want it tucked in. Just because you're being asked to do it.
Yeah.
Right. You need to be here at 8:00. Right. 8:00 start. Team's supposed to be here at 7:55. Don't be here at 7:56. This is just, again, coaches are asking you to do this. These are the football teams asking you to do it. So, just making sure if we take care of the little things. We're already very good with the big things, but if we can take care of the little things, we'll be fine. Those are the details that we're talking about. We could be a much disciplined, much better disciplined, or more disciplined football team. We should have no issues dominating whoever lines up in front of us.
Man, it's amazing how all that ties in together, right? All those little things that add up to success, stuff that sometimes people look past, but those little things do matter.
They do.
They definitely do matter. They definitely do matter. Would you talk about the guys? Obviously, Kendall, some of the other NFL prospects. Obviously, we saw what Kendall did in the Hula Bowl, which was good. But there's going to be other guys who have opportunities, like at the HBCU Legacy Bowl and some other. What are you hearing from scouts? Will FAMU have a pro day? Any talks on how many guys might be attending that? What's your thoughts that you can share there?
Well, I mean, we're waiting on UF, right? We always wait on University of Florida to set their date, because once they set their date, we can set ours. So what happens is all the scouts go to the University of Florida. Then those same scouts come to us. So let's just say Florida decides to have their pro day in the morning. Those same scouts will now come to us in the afternoon. They'll spend the night, and then those same scouts will then go to Florida State that next morning. So Florida State's even waiting, because we have to wait on when Florida decides when they're gonna do their pro day, right? So, we had every single team come see us over the break. I mean, over the season, we had 2 teams. We had 5 teams come twice. And we had 2 teams come 3 times, right? So, the agents, the scouts will be in full force, obviously. And you got Kendall Bowler that's going to be high on the list. Jamari Gassett's going to be high on the list. Jalen Goss is going to be attending the Legacy Bowl. So we got 3 guys going to the Legacy Bowl. Obviously, Kendall just went and did his. So, JP Pruitt's going to go to the HBCU Combine. So we got some guys that, they're going to test well, and it's going to make the scouts to come in. And obviously their film has been great as well, right? So, we'll be well represented. We're just waiting on that date to figure out when we can get everything done, et cetera, et cetera. So, we're waiting on that. I'm going to try to get to the Legacy Bowl, at least to try to get to at least a practice to watch our guys go to work. And I'm proud of them. It's well deserved. Those guys have been working their tail off. Obviously we had a couple other, Cam Gillis went to the FCS All-Star game. So FAMU's being well represented in a lot of those games that, a lot of those All-Star games and things of that nature.
What are scouts telling you as it relates to whether either those players or maybe just the non-power non-power 4 players these days? Because it seems like the last few years they have intentionally used the power 4 as their minor league, so to speak, and that has almost been like the default. Like there might be a guy like a really good guy at the FCS level, but they've shown I'm going to go draft this guy from the FBS just because he went to a Power 4 school. What are you hearing from scouts? Is that just a one-off, case-by-case thing, or is it maybe something across the landscape that might be happening there?
I think for us, we're blessed with the guys that have gone off and done well. Okay. The proof is there that NFL players can come out of Florida A&M, and that's not just the guys over the last few years. It's just there's Hall of Famers, right? There's Hall of Famers that have come from this university, right, and down the road, right? So there's always been and again I can't speak for the other university. I'm blessed to be at this one where NFL players have come from this university. They're playing, in the NFL, and we're going to have guys that are on our team currently, and even Kendall Bowler, where they're going to be playing in the NFL, right? So, they know that NFL players that play at Florida A&M and come to Florida A&M. So, I think the biggest thing that they want to see from our guys is, there's a lot of emphasis on how our guys are off the field, how they are off the field, and not saying in a bad way, but those are the questions that they're asked. Like, how is he off the field? How is he socially? How is he academically? Those, and I think those are the same questions they ask anybody that's at any program, right? But I do think that they want whoever that we do decide to get, right? You look at the Marquise Bells and the Xavier Smiths and Isaiah Lands and Terrell Jennings, and now you're looking at Kendall Bowler. Like, they want those guys they want them to be dominant at the level that they're at. I think that I think obviously the landscape that we're under, where we're at, state of Florida, we play the MEAC Challenge in front of 1.3 million people. Then you go and play you go play another, you go play in the Florida Classic in front of 60,000 and the TV. So you get a chance. They're able to be seen in a lot of different areas and a lot of different places. So these scouts have TVs too. They don't have to fly to see us, but since we get all the national exposure, they get a chance to see our guys play at the highest level. So, that's a big thing. But once you get a guy who dominates at this level, and coming from Florida A&M, I think all those things come into play that, yes, this guy can play at the NFL level. And then on top of that, the guys that we're playing against, you're also playing against quality opponents where, so, hey, we can't say the NFL scouts don't come to us, right, and come watch our guys play. I mean, they do that. I just personally feel that we played against some other guys, and we have guys that they should be drafted. They should have been drafted. There's some guys that, ultimately, the default is I'm going to go if we're in the 5th round or whatever round they're in. Yeah, I'm going to go with the guy that's went to Cal compared to the guy who's been dominant at Florida A&M. But I think that can change. They just have to draft somebody and see and then watch. But I mean, Kendall Bowler, you hear from the scouts, strong possibility. In the beginning they thought he would have a chance to get drafted, and then now, right? He goes out there and plays against players that are at the FBS and Power 4 level, and hell, he should have had a pick 6. I'm still mad at him. His ass should have had a pick 6, but he showed that he could dominate and play at that level. So he has all the attributes. He's gonna run a 4.4. He's 6 foot, 185 pounds. If that guy was at Florida, he'd be drafted, when no questions asked. So I don't see why there's much of a difference, just because he plays at Florida A&M.
Well said, Coach. All right, here we go. I'm gonna get you out of here on this. Just one final message that you could give the Rattler Nation going into season 2, Coach. I think this is a good way to kind of wrap it up. You've been more than gracious with your time tonight, so we'll kind of wrap it up with you in the last final words that you'd like to give the Rattler Nation going into season 2.
I continue to support. Again, I know, and I'm the first one to tell you that I thought our season should have been a hell of a lot better than it was. But I can assure you that we're gonna put our best foot forward. We're gonna continue to support our guys. And when we open up the season, no matter where we are, right? Continue to show the Rattler pride and the Rattler love that you've shown, that I have seen, whether it's been high or whether it's been low, right? You guys have always been extremely supportive of me, and extremely supportive of our football team, and extremely supportive of the university. And we're gonna make y'all proud. Trust me, we're gonna make y'all proud. But we got work to do, and rest assured, we're gonna be working our ass off to get ourselves ready to wherever we may be opening up our season in August. So, but continue to support our guys and then continue to pray for our guys. But listen, we're getting ourselves ready to go. Not trying to make any bulletin board material, but
you did a pretty good job of avoiding that today. Yeah, but good job.
We're going to be a very, very good football team in 2025.
Well, Coach,
thank you, Coach. Appreciate you. Although it didn't go the way we wanted to, at the end of the day, the effort was there, the love, the passion was there, and there's always room to grow. We always trying to grow and get better. So, but I really appreciate how you come in and represent it. I love what you're doing, and the O&G, we definitely support you and our team.
Well, thank you guys. Bryan's been trying to get me on, and I was doing recruiting, and then I was out of town, and I appreciate you guys continue to be gracious with me, and there's certain games we got to win, and we're gonna make sure we do so this upcoming year and continue to win those games that we need to be winning. So the standard is the standard. We know where we're supposed to be at the end of every season. If we don't get there, then that means we didn't continue the standard. We know that, but trust me, we're gonna be a hell of a lot better, and we'll be ready to go once it's time to go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, Coach James Colzie III. Make sure to hit him up on X at Coach Colzie, and just let him know you appreciate him spending well over an hour of his time this evening with us, y'all. I mean, he went through a lot of questions, and I tried to hit as many of the questions that you guys had asked, whether via email or on the chat. So obviously we couldn't get into every single one of them, but I think Coach gave us a lot to chew on to get us excited, answer a lot of questions about the past, and to get us really thinking about going forward and what we need to do to maintain, plan, and be an standard that we all want to be. So you guys make sure to show him some love and let him know. And good luck the rest of the period. I know all these next weeks are big times for signing days, and we'll be talking again, I'm sure, shortly as we get closer to National Signing Day, Coach.
I can't wait, guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very, very much.
All right. Take care.
All right.
All right. Good stuff, man. Coach James Colzie III. Woo!
Some nuggets.
That's some nuggets, boy. Woo.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm willing to. Is there anybody that wants to go back and do a summary of just some of the different stuff that Coach talked about? Because I feel like I might need to go back and watch our own show to jot down some of the stuff that Coach talked about, and like that might be a whole nother show.
Absolutely.
Oh man, good stuff, man. Can we take a break? I don't know if I need to go to the bathroom or just take a drink of water, or what do you want to do here, Kelvin? Because I know it's late. We're coming up towards the end, and I know outside of maybe mentioning a few things, we didn't have a whole lot to finish up with. You tell me where you want to go.
Let's go and close it up and be done.
Okay, let's close it up and be done. Good stuff. And no, I did put in the link for Thanksgiving via the FAMUexchange.com. So hopefully you guys saw that. Wow.
And Bryan, I think it was really important to hear Coach in his transparency talk about losing guys that were committing to us to counterparts in our own conference over NIL. So, we got no excuse. He's giving us the information. Yeah.
That was big. That was big. Yeah. That was huge hearing him talk about it. Yeah, I definitely, Ashley said, definitely I got a clip. There's all kinds of stuff to clips. I think I'm definitely going to have to drop that one into the little AI program I have that I use and make sure we get some clips out of that. Appreciate all you guys. The biggest and the best thing that you guys can do for us is make sure to go ahead and share the show. When you see this on your Facebook feed, or if you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure to share this show, with Rattler Nation, whether it be your own personal groups, your class groups, your sororities, fraternities. Let Rattler Nation know about the show. Let them know about this interview. A lot of questions that you guys had. Maybe you came in late, 30, 40 minutes late, and you were like, oh, Coach Colzie's still on? Yeah. And the questions y'all had, go rewind. And I bet you we talked about it. You can also hear about, you can follow back if you're a podcast watcher. I'm going to stay up a little late tonight, try to get it uploaded onto the BCSN Pod Zone So that way, any of you who are podcast listeners, you can always listen to it on your favorite podcast platform as well. So, wow. Okay. Moving forward with news going into this week, and as you guys saw the scroll down at the bottom, a lot of upcoming events. So let's kind of run through those, Kelvin. Kind of starting with tomorrow night, right there in Tallahassee. It's an orange out as the Lady Rattlers are back in the building in the Lawson, trying to get the losing taste out of their mouth from that trip to Louisiana. And so we take on Valley. Valley, I don't even know what their record is. They might be winless, probably, maybe, or they got maybe a win or two. I don't really know.
They got 1 or 2 wins.
1 or 2 wins, yeah. So hopefully this can be a good opportunity to get back to feeling good about winning. And then so the ladies only game on Thursday, part of the new SWAC format. Then on Saturday, we've got the doubleheader, women and men against UAPB.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And then on Monday night, the men will play Valley.
Right.
On Monday at 7. Are you surprised they didn't move that game up, Kelvin? You like the 7 o'clock game? You surprised they didn't move it up, being it's a holiday?
There's a lot going on that day. I don't know if they even really considered it. You know, there's an inauguration, there's an MLK Day with parades and stuff.
Yeah.
And ain't a national championship game that night too, right?
There is.
So I don't know where a good window of time is.
Yeah, you're right. There is no good window. It's just, you just play it and you keep going. So yeah, for sure. Looking for our show notes here. We've got a bowling is back.
Yep.
Coming up. You know, you might have missed the memo, but the bowling team is back, set for the West Roundup in, I don't know how to pronounce that. Is it D'Iberville, Mississippi?
Mississippi.
Yeah. At Cypress Lanes there.
Yeah.
8 SWAC schools in the house. And hey, just in case you didn't know, we actually, FAMU has a new coach. Just in case you missed the memo, head coach Jeremy Williams. It'll be, I believe it's his first tournament here, leading FAMU. If you didn't know, Coach Williams comes over from Elizabeth City State University, where he had been the head coach there since 2001. He had the highest winning percentage in ECSU history. Led the Vikings to a CIAA championship in 2009. Also led them to 3 division championships. He's been a CIAA Coach of the Year 3 times, 12 all CIAA selections since 2010, including the Player of the Year in 2017. He's also a professor and a well-trained silver coach. Over the years, he has become a certified technician with Brunswick Bowling and Billiards. So, I know AD Suggs was very excited about getting Coach Williams on the staff. I do remember when she mentioned that to me. So hopefully after this tournament or here in the next month or so, we can get Coach Williams on the show.
Absolutely. Yep.
And we'll get a chance to kind of meet him and introduce him to Rattler Nation and talk about this team. So again, the ladies begin Friday. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday tournament. And a lot of these tournaments, if you are following FAMU athletics, or either this, I don't know if it's on the SWAC Digital, but sometimes these tournaments pop up on the YouTube page, on the FAMU athletics YouTube page. So good opportunity there. All right. Also, this weekend, our championship tennis program, our tennis team, the ladies are back on the court beginning Saturday morning against Georgia Southern University, 10 a.m. Where is that match at, Kelvin? Is that up that way in Georgia somewhere? They also will take on Mercer University on Sunday, the 19th. So we're trying to get it squared up in terms of where exactly they are at. It sounds like they are on the road.
Look like it's home matches.
It's home, really?
It says versus on the website, so usually that's what it says. It says versus against Georgia Southern and 10 a.m.
Okay. At the Gibson Complex, huh?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, good opportunity to get over and see the ladies and start watching them get ready to make a run at a third consecutive SWAC championship match. And hopefully we can hashtag get our rings back. We'll borrow that same mantra from our volleyball program and make this 2025 season an opportunity for our tennis program to get their rings back. Of course, the ladies won the title 2 years ago, finished second last season, taking it all the way to the last set of the day. Our track program, the men and women's indoor track season, got delayed last week as it pretty much got snowed out. I don't know if there was snow in Birmingham, but I know there was heavy weather. They were supposed to be at the UAB Blazer Invite. That got canceled, postponed. I don't know if it was postponed, but it got canceled. And this week they're at the HBCU Invitational. It says New York. I don't know.
New York City, boss.
Oh, it is in New York City. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
they went last year. I think it's sponsored by one of those athletic brands.
Okay. I have not had any success finding any good information about it, so I'm kind of like in the dark trying to tell you guys anything about it. But other than what's on the website, FAMUathletics.com, that they're in New York. So I don't know. Kenya, that's up your neck of the woods, is it not, Kenya? I know she's in the chats. So maybe you can give us some intel. I would also encourage you, follow at HBCU Track. I think, is that the Twitter handle? Is it HBCU Track? Let me look it up. Yeah, HBCU Track _ field. HBCU Track _ field on X, Twitter. That site does a great job of following HBCU track, and especially the HBCU track season, indoor and outdoor. So New York City. Yep, exactly, Edwin. New York City. I couldn't tell you who's going to be there because that information doesn't seem to be quite available, but it is what it is. All right. What else you got? What else you want to mention, Kelvin?
I think you pretty much covered everything. I think we're ready to roll. All
right. I want to take a quick second and say a quick shout out and a thank you to Donald Reed. Of course, Donald has been on our show before. He's a friend of the O&G. He's been the head equipment manager. Do I have that right, Kelvin? Kelvin did. I think Kelvin froze up. I might have lost Kelvin. But if you missed the memo a few days ago, earlier, yes, well, okay, head equipment manager. So I was trying to. He made. If you follow
Yes.
If you actually, okay. There's at FAMU Equipment is on Instagram, and I think there even might be an X handle, but there was a statement from Donald, just kind of a nice letter, a nice departing note to Rattler Nation for his time. He will be heading south, taking on a similar role down there with Coach Simmons, I believe, is what I've heard. So appreciate everything Donald did to make FAMU look great. I again enjoyed the conversation we had with him on the show back in the fall. I think was it the fall or the summer when we had Donald on? The shows kind of run together. I know we had him on in 2024. I just don't know the exact month. Yeah.
By the way, Bryan.
Yes.
The HBCU track showcase in New York City is in Manhattan. I think it's at a place, the Historic Armory. But anyway, it's sponsored by KPMG, and you can watch it on Peacock at 2:30 on Saturday.
Good stuff. Good to know. So again, appreciate you finding that info out. Again, friend of the show and a JBN subscriber, Tamara T, wants to remind everybody that the Career Expo is happening next Wednesday from 10 to 3 p.m. in the Lawson Center. So if any of you have any young Rattlers, please encourage them to attend. Internships and full-time positions are available. There will be 148 recruiters scheduled to attend. And so, Tamara is doing amazing work with the Expo. They had a great fall, and I know this spring is going to be awesome as well. So if you have a young Rattler, if you've got somebody that's looking for an opportunity, some internship, full-time positions, whether they're going to be graduating in the spring or maybe looking for an internship in the summer or whatever, they need to be at this Career Expo. So encourage them. Tell them, don't delay. Get your resumes together. Press that shirt. Get your nice fit on, and be ready to get to the Lawson Center. 148 recruiters will be in attendance. So, Tamara, is there a link or social media that people can reference as well? Or, if so, drop that in the chat, and we'll make sure to share that as well. So good stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, I think I hit a lot of stuff. Victor Gaines had shared that info. Remember, we talked about that April 12th date. So we asked about the spring
Alabama
game.
A&M.
Yeah, Alabama A&M. That's a doubleheader coming into town to take on FAMU softball. So I think it's a doubleheader. Don't quote me on that. But Alabama A&M softball will be playing that day. I don't know if the baseball team has a home game. We still haven't gotten the official schedule yet.
Right.
But it looks like the spring game will be a late afternoon game, which I think will be great. To keep you from having to, yeah, exactly. You don't have to be out in the heat. It'll be a little cooler, hopefully, but it'll be a great opportunity. And so that we can say that is one bit of breaking news that we did get from our great conversation with Coach Colzie. We found out the day of the spring game.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, Kelvin, you did a great job of dancing around the schedule without giving up any details. But I got this. I'm not gonna say it.
Now that you mention it, that is one thing I did want to mention on the show. Part of the delay in getting that schedule out is because not only are there some rearranging of the teams and so forth, but Florida State schedule and the ACC schedule comes out January 27th.
Okay.
And because we have so many home games, and they're going to have 6-7 home games, there's communication and coordination going on between the two universities to try to minimize dates that have both teams at home. So it'll be sometime toward the end of the month, but it'll be after the 27th for sure before we kind of really know what the schedule is going to be, because it's possible that some games could be reworked in order to come in, so that we don't have the conflicts, especially considering who we got coming to Bragg. We got Alabama State, Jackson State coming to Bragg. We got Alcorn State coming to Bragg.
Yeah.
And we got whoever homecoming is. So yeah, it makes sense, and that's the way it used to be. The universities used to work together to try to minimize that. So hotels and those kind of arrangements, they're already tough during that time of season. But if one team's at home when you have those big games, it's better for everybody. Plus, a lot of times people don't talk about the capacity, but the same staff that supports the FSU games and the FAMU games in terms of ticketing and parking, it's the same company. And frankly, when you have two big games like that at the same time, neither event gets staffed to the capacity it should get staffed. So,
yep.
FYI.
Per the recent article by Gerald Thomas yesterday, noting that FAMU football adds Cedric Williams and Kevin Maurice as offensive assistants for 2025. Now, this is coming from Gerald and the Tallahassee Democrat. I don't think, and this is why Coach Colzie did not mention this, because I don't think it has been, quote, official via FAMU HR. But we'll just read what these gentlemen and Gerald had reported. Of course, even Coach Williams had tweeted out, ready to make an impact, thrilled to join Rattler Nation and FAMU football. Let's get it. Both of these coaches come from North Carolina Central. We kind of hinted at plucking from that North Carolina Central Trey Oliver tree. We got two good guys. Coach Kevin Maurice will be looks like will be serving as the new running backs coach and recruiting coordinator, according to the article. Williams would be the co-offensive coordinator and offensive line coach, according to Gerald's article. Williams, of course, replacing former assistant head coach, OC, and O-line coach Joe Henry, while Maurice would be replacing Marcus Wyndham in a similar position. Both coaches assisted North Carolina Central in their Celebration Bowl win and Black College Football National Championship team of 2022. Williams is a former 4-year offensive lineman for the South Carolina Gamecocks. He was an all-SEC player back in 2000. He's had coaching stops along the way at Tennessee State, Newberry College, Valley, and Georgia State. Was a NFL Bill Walsh Diversity Fellow with the Panthers, Steelers, Vikings, and Giants. While Coach Maurice was an All-American running back at Eastern Arizona College in 2001 and 2002 before transferring to Texas El Paso and playing there in 2003 and 2004. Coach Maurice is a Miami native, been an OC for North Miami High School. He's had coaching stops at Midwestern State, Nevada, Purdue, Eastern Washington, North Dakota, New Mexico State, Cincinnati, and Miami. So thank you to Gerald for covering a lot of the depth on those two coaches. Again, expect that information to be official next week, week after. I don't know. Let's see how many times Coach Colzie can pop into HR to try to get however many times he can pop into HR to find out when is this going to be official. So that's it. So just wanted to share that. All right. Well, I think we've given you guys enough to really chew on.
No Marcus?
No, Marcus didn't make it in. Marcus didn't make it in tonight, but I know
he's asleep now.
Yeah, by now, yeah. All right, yeah. So, but anyway, it'll be opportunity to kind of go back, listen or watch the interview with Coach Colzie, jot down some notes. Again, hey, anybody that looking for anybody that love to be a contributor to the show, we'd love to be able to. That'd be a great long form article to kind of put together on some of the stuff. Who knows? Maybe we know a lot of people listen to the show, so you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of the nuggets from out of this show pop up in some other places. It's all good. Just make sure you say that when Coach Colzie appeared on the O&G StrikeZone, that's all I ask. Just, you know, can we get a little credit and love? That's all. All right. Final words, Kelvin, so we can close the door and get out of here tonight.
Good night.
I thought I was going to get a chance to take a drink. You mean give me a chance? That's all right. All right. Hit the thumbs up and the like button on the door. You see down there, if you want to make a donation to the show, you can also drop it in the Cash App. You can also leave a super chat on your way out the door as well. Thank everybody for their contributions. Thank you to everybody who sent in emails. Those of you participating in the chats, we appreciate you. Share the show. If everybody who watched this show, everybody who hit the thumbs up, one person, share it with one of your friends, one Rattler, and maybe we'll continue to grow this show to the levels that we know we are capable of for 2025. Thank you to everybody. Yeah, it's time to shut it down. You guys have a great week. Good luck to our Lady Rattlers. Get out to the Lawson Center tomorrow night. If you are in Tallahassee and the weather is good, go support the Lady Rattlers. Get them back feeling good about being at home, and we need a win. We need a win.
Need a win.
Need a win. So hopefully it's coming up on Wednesday, tomorrow night, Thursday night.
Yes.
Thursday night. All right. Exactly, Keith. Share with 3 friends and encourage them to subscribe. Exactly. Yeah, Gerald, right. See,
you're right. You're right. When you're right, you're right.
You're right. See, I got energy right now. See, I got energy for days. But anyway, all right, let's go. Let's get out of here. Thanks for watching the show tonight, everybody. Peace out. See you guys next week or right here on the Black College Sports Network.